My name is Muhammad bin Sulaiman. So Ustadh, my question is, most of people here are the leaders lah, basically. So I'm the younger generation on the bottom side of the pyramid lah. Okay. Yeah, so people are talking about leaders thinking about changes, and our company is trying to change. So, but what I'm asking is, how do we take leaders to be feeling what the bottom is feeling before they do implementation? Some changes we can say constant, and for the bottom part of the pyramid is a bit annoying. Yeah. So how do we get leaders to be more open-minded and more EQ intelligence, less than IQ intelligence? Because most of what they're trying to implement is IQ intelligence, less than EQ intelligence.
Yeah. So fair question. I do think that change can be very difficult, especially on the execution level, right? Because the decision's made in a meeting, but the execution is at the bottom tier, where all the workload changes and logistics become difficult, etc. Right? One part of the answer is it does go back to open communication and a culture of clear communication from top to bottom and bottom to top. But the other also, I'm gonna have to say, is no change is ever painless, ever. It's always going to be annoying. And if avoiding annoyance is the objective, then change will never happen. So again, there could be extremes, like we made a major change last week and we're making another major change from the major change this week, and then again next week, and then again next week. Okay, now it's getting a bit too much. Let's talk about that. But the other extreme is every time there's a change, oh my God, a change. I hate this. Or at least let's understand. I think the onus of the leadership is to explain to the rest of the organization the rationale behind the change. Because when I make a decision, the most immediate answer is, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? The why is being discussed by the executives, yes or no? And sometimes the executives feel that everybody else doesn't need to know this. This is the adults talking, the kids don't need to know. Most people, right? That culture in my mind is toxic. Once we make that decision, once you make a decision and there was a well thought out response, your memo shouldn't say it was well thought out. That doesn't mean anything. Here's why we felt this is important. And instead of even putting it in some kind of a writing, you should be able to articulate your reasons so well to your management that they can then communicate that really well to their team. And everybody can say, that's why. Because the growth of the organization, sometimes the survival of the organization, sometimes the growth of the organization, and sometimes meeting massive, great targets, ambitious targets for the organization is something the top executives feel very strongly about. But the bottom tier says, I just want to do my job. That's because they were never included in that conversation. They were never made to feel like this is something that's going to grow. And once it grows, everybody benefits. We all succeed together. So that's one of the failures, I think, of top-down kinds of management, is some of the more important, exciting conversations stay on top. And by the time they get to the bottom, you only get the kind of very shallow version of that. So it's not really convincing to you why that decision was made. But if the rationale explained, you're like, whoa, I get it. That's pretty cool. That's a really good decision. I'm on board. Because even kid, I like to think human beings are the same psychological processes. We don't understand the leadership of our parents, just like we don't understand the leadership of our teachers, just like we don't understand the leadership of our governments and our employers. But a good parent is not able to just give instruction, but actually able to rationalize their decision to the child and say, here's the harm and here's the benefit. A child that's doing something because they understand it, and a child that's doing something just because mama said so, is there a difference? In motivation, in consistency, is there a difference? Huge, right? The same is true of organizations, I think. It's the same exact thing.
Breaking free, 1st December.
Yes, sir.
World Trade Center. Would you like to share some